Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Trader's Mind Chat show where we get real about trading psychology, performance, and today, building a system that actually pays. In today's episode, we are breaking down my new ebook, The Trading Success Blueprint. If you've ever been trading for a while but still feel stuck in that cycle, win some, lose some, wondering when it's all finally going to click, then what we've got here today is for you. I'm going to walk you through the exact 4-part framework that's helped traders pull their equity curves out of the ditch and get on the road to consistent, scalable profits. This whole thing, it's not about some sort of magic indicator or hot stock picks. This is about mindset, clarity, building your trading like an actual business, like it's meant to make money because it is. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this. So if you've got a pen and paper nearby, you're going to want to grab it. This is something that's going to be tactical, practical, and it might just be transformational. Also, if you're watching live, say hey in the chat and let me know where you're tuning in from. Also, quick gut check. So let me know if you already have a written business plan for your trading. Type yes if you're working on it or no if you're not. Let's see where people are at. All right, so let's start with the 3 biggest false beliefs that keep traders stuck in mediocrity. Number 1, I already have a trading plan. Isn't that enough? Number 2, I'm not a business person. I can't write a business plan. Number 3, who has time to set all this stuff up? Well, let's obliterate that those 3 beliefs right now. So let's paint a little picture for you here. Imagine you walk into a dress shop and you see a bin of cabbage at the checkout counter. That'll be pretty weird, right? But that's exactly what happens when traders buy random setups or chase hype or try to execute without having a real business plan. I was that trader too for many years. All the knowledge, read O'Neill, read Minervini, read Darvis, struggled for years. I had all the knowledge, but I lacked structure. And that meant inconsistent results. It meant me building something that looks like this, where you walk into a dress store and you find the cabbage because, hey, you know what? The cabbage was on sale. We'll just put it out just this once. Maybe it'll work this time. Got a great deal on cabbage. Why not put it in the dress store? Because it doesn't fit, right? So hopefully that makes sense to you. Let's move on. All righty. So what does a plan look like? What does that plan look like? Let's dive into the 4 key parts of the Trading Success Blueprint, starting with philosophy. Right? So with philosophy, your philosophy is going to be the foundation. It's the thing that guides every decision that you make in the market. So, for example, think about this. Who are your biggest influences in trading? I'll tell you, for me, even right now, my biggest influences have been guys like Mark Minervini, William O'Neill, Nicholas Darvis, Van Tharp, Dan Weinstein. You want to think about who are your biggest influences in trading. It wasn't always like that for me. Sometime way back when, biggest trading influence was my dad, right? At one point, my dad was my biggest trading influence. What he thought was that, you know, trading really shouldn't be doing that. It's kind of like gambling. You don't know which way price is going to move. Later on, I was influenced by an uncle that told me that I should get involved and start to study a little bit on my own, read the Wall Street Journal. But thinking way back then, those were my influences, and I had these beliefs in my subconscious that were pulling in two different directions. And that caused me to struggle for a long time because I didn't realize that I even had these beliefs. It wasn't until I was able to bring them to the surface to start to rectify them. So here's another thing that you're going to want to think about. What do you believe about the market? What do you believe about the market? Do you believe that the market is an infinite stream of opportunity? Do you believe that the market's going to roll over right here, right? I'll bring it into the today, taking a look at something like the S&P or the Nasdaq or something like that. Do you believe that this is the final shakeout before we rip higher? If you have those kind of thoughts, why? Where are they coming from? Write those things out. Those are your beliefs about the market. That's your structure that's guiding your decisions. Your beliefs drive your behaviors for better or worse. Misaligned beliefs are the things that cause us to sabotage, and it'll sabotage our trades every single time. So I want you to think about this for a moment. Think about this for a moment. Who's influencing your trading philosophy right now? And when you think about that person, think about this. Is that the person, is that person where you want to be? Just going to pop over into the chat for a little bit here. Let's see. Hey, I'm working on my trading plan right now. That's from Quan Brown Jr. Way to go. Way to go. I love it. All righty. So let's keep it moving here. On to pillar number 2. Pillar number 2, goals and objectives. So once you've got clarity on why you trade, you need to define what success is actually going to look like and how you're going to get there. Right? So let's break it down a little bit. You want to have profit targets, monthly, quarterly. You're going to want to assess risk levels per trade. You want to start to think about expense management, maybe some professional development goals, all these sorts of things that get baked into a trading business, but things that if you're operating like a hobbyist, which most people start out as, I did too, you don't really think about these kinds of things. You just think about, well, I want to be making money and I want to be making money now, right? But, well, when we start to think about these other elements, that's when we start to transform our trading hobby into a trading business and something that could start to produce consistent results. Don't aim for something like 500% if your system's not proven yet. Start with goals that you can actually measure and learn from. That right there is a golden nugget. So make sure that you write that one down. Start with goals that you can actually measure and learn from. So here's what I want you to do now. Type goals into the chat if you're committing to setting clearer goals, realistic trading goals this week. For bonus points, type in what one or two of them might be for yourself. And we'll head on over to pillar number 3. Here's pillar number 3. Now we turn to the question, how do we know what to do each day? Here's what I like to do each day. I like to break down the entire market. Not meaning where I'm looking at a particular index or even particular group of stocks. So what we see right here, what I call market mood, that's my philosophy of how I go about analyzing the whole picture and gathering all the pieces of the puzzle and then putting them all together. I like to analyze these 3 things: general market, system, and personal performance, because what I've seen is that when we look at the market through each one of those 3 lenses, we get a 3-dimensional view. That's why we've got those 3 circles right there. And what it ends up doing for us, it helps us figure out how heavy or how light we should be at any given time in the market. So let's talk about it a little bit. The general market, what might we put in there? Anything that relates to your view of the general market. For me, I like to look at the major indexes. I'll look at the S&P 500, NASDAQ, Russell 2000, New York Stock Exchange, and the Dow. I like to look at those across time frames, daily, weekly, and monthly. So that way I've got the close-up picture, and I've also got the much broader picture, and I'm able to really ascertain where the whole market is right now and where it's going and how things are behaving at that longer term level. Because what might look like a pretty nasty pullback or decline, when we're zoomed up close, when we pull back, it might not actually be as bad as we think. And so that's why we want to keep, at least that's why I like to keep both perspectives at the forefront. Then I'll dive a little bit deeper and I'll start to look at this part over here called your system. So your system is basically, how are you getting your ideas, your setups, the things that you're going to take action on. The way that I do it, I'll screen the market. I like to trade growth stocks and I like to swing trade growth stocks. So I'll screen the market and come up with what I think are some of the fundamentally based best ideas in the market. The reason why I want to screen for fundamentals first is because through my own studies and also through what others have found, my studies are based off of O'Neill's and Minervini's and those types. And it's true. The stocks that tend to do the best, have the best odds of success, are the ones that have strong earnings, strong sales, ongoing earnings and sales, accelerating earnings and sales, are all driven by that sort of growth. It doesn't mean that you can't find a couple of others that don't quite fit that, but for the most part, if stocks have earnings and sales and strong earnings and sales, then you stand a better chance of catching one of those big winners. So I'll screen for that stuff first, and I'll build my universe. Then from there, I'll go through the universe and see what stocks are setting up in technical patterns, the type of technical patterns that I'm interested in. I find those, and then I ascertain, is this a high quality setup? And how many setups am I finding? Those 2 questions: quality, quantity. Once I've got the quality and the quantity down, that tells me a lot about the current environment. Because if I'm finding a lot of stocks that are setting up and they're high quality, then that's telling me that I should be involved. But if we're in another market environment where things are scarce and the quality is garbage, then that's also giving me some really great insights of how heavy or light I should be. So now we've got 2 ways to look at the market: the general market and the setups. Then our personal performance, because if we're disciplined about only taking the best setups and we have a process to identify what those should be, then that's going to give us some really great feedback on if we should be scaling up or scaling down too. And it's one of those things that can not only give you great insights, but will also help your longevity in trading. Because if you're stepping on the gas when things are going well and you're able to compound quicker, you'll be able to make a lot of money. And if you're able to also identify when things stop working and are able to scale down in a hurry, that's going to keep you in the game. So all of that is very, very important. All right, see Quan working on his goals. Anybody else working on their goals? Go ahead and put that into the chat. And we'll move on. We'll take a look at pillar number 4, the trading strategy. So now it's time to start to tie things all together into the core of your execution. That's what your strategy is going to be. We're going to talk about entries. We want to talk about your exit strategy, how you're going to take profits, how you could tell if price is deteriorating and you should have an exit, where your stop loss should be, how you might want to set time-based exits, or you might have something that I like to use called danger signals. Whatever your exit strategies are, you're going to want to take the time to make sure that you write these things down, that they're not just ideas that are floating around in your head. Because when you take the time to sit there and write things out, that's what's going to make this stuff so more concrete. It'll give you something to refer to. It'll give you a way to think through your thoughts and identify any holes that might be there. Just taking the time to write the stuff out, well, it'll be a game changer for you. Trust me on that. I use a 4 exit framework. So that way I'm never stuck guessing when I should be selling. It helps me stay calm, even in the kind of wild markets like we've been. So, like I mentioned, the 4 types of exits that I like to have, I think that they're useful to have. You can have your version of these. Taking profits, when to take profits. You should be taking profits along the way. That helps to lock things in. Something that's time-based, something that's going to kick you out of a trade if the trade is going nowhere. Something that prevents the trade from retracing too much. I know that a common problem that traders have is that they'll be in a winning trade, they'll see it run up, and then they'll ride it all the way back down. So have a backstop in place, something that makes sure that it doesn't fall back too far. And then, of course, the stop loss, something that's going to keep a loss small rather than letting it balloon out of control. So tell me this, type this part into the chat. Which part of your strategy feels the least clear right now? Which part of your strategy feels the least clear right now? Is it the entry, the exit? Maybe it's the risk management part of it. Well, what part or parts are you struggling with? Type into the chat. Well, we've all been there. We've all been there. I've struggled with each one of these at one point or another. I'm still refining my process too. I've been trading for 26 years now. Geez, I'm getting old. But 26 years, and I'm still refining my process, still making little tweaks here or there. Nothing dramatic, not huge, but still refining the edge, making sure that things are working, continuing to evolve the process, continuing to evolve the plan. And by the way, your trading plan, your trading business plan is going to be a working document. It's not something that you're going to write once and then you're done forever. It's something that will evolve and grow with you over time. Colin said that he's working on his exits. That's the least clear part right now. All right, yeah. So that uh, we could definitely dig into exits. Uh, and for those of you too, if you have specific questions or want to dig deeper into a particular topic, like exits or like goal setting, we're going to have time at the end. I'll leave a little bit of time. I'll even stay a little bit longer to go through and answer whatever questions you guys have. Let's move on to the next pillar here, right? Or actually, the final lesson. So now you've got the plan all laid out, but let's talk about the mistake that kills most traders right here. The number one mistake is that they never finish the plan. A lot of people start the plan, they don't finish the plan. Or even worse, a lot of people don't even start the plan. General Patton once said, a good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan next week. It's not about perfection. It's about progress and reviewing regularly. A business plan, like I mentioned, isn't a one and done kind of thing. This is going to be a living document. Think about this. What's the one thing that has stopped you from writing your trading business plan up to this point if you fall into that category? Let's call it out in the chat. Well, what's the one thing that has stopped you from writing your plan if you haven't written one yet? Is it not knowing where to start? Is it a lack of time? Is it not thinking that you are qualified to do so? Well, what do you think that it is? I'll tell you this, well, we all start out messy. My business plan when I was first writing it out was messy. My first trading business plan was messy when I first wrote it out. And I have an MBA. I don't have an MBA in trading stocks, but I do have those business degrees. And yeah, even for me, it was messy. So that's okay. That's something else that I learned, and not from school. I learned later on in life that the most important thing is to start. And often when things start, they're messy. And it's later on as you continue to work with things that they begin to evolve. And that's the important point there. You want to review it regularly. You want to iterate it over time. So here's one more thing, right? This is the point where you could turn your trading into a consistent income machine. And isn't that what we all want? Isn't that why we're all here? Here's how the typical hobbyist operates. Here's how a trading business owner operates. A hobbyist tends to take random trades. They're the ones that have the cabbage in the dress shop, right? Maybe you've got a halfway decent system, but all of a sudden one day you think, you know what? Let me try this other system. I've never traded options before, but heck, somebody said try options, so I'm gonna go and try it right now. If you're just doing it off of a wing and a prayer, that's not a strategy. It's just taking a random trade. It's not to say that you can't plan to add something in. That's what a business owner would do. But it should be part of a plan. It should be well thought out. If you're just taking random trades, you're a hobbyist. And hobbyists don't make money. Hobbyists spend a lot of money. Hobbyists also tend to be very emotion driven. They'll see the market falling, they'll panic sell. They see the market starting to rip higher, and all of a sudden they're buying, they're afraid of getting left behind or getting left out. Business owner is very different. A business owner is going to be rules driven. They're going to have specific criteria of what's going to get them into a trade, what even constitutes a setup, right? And maybe they find some setups, but they also have a way to measure, is this a quality setup or is it not? And if it's not, they're not going to buy it. Picture the dress shop owner. Are they going to buy a bunch of dresses that have holes in them? Unless it's the style, probably not. They'll pass. Hobbyist also doesn't review their trades. They don't review their trades. They have reasons or really excuses why they generally don't review their trades. A few of them tend to be, well, my broker tracks all my trades. I just look at my P&L and I kind of know where I'm at, or I don't have time. I don't know where to start. Now, if this stuff hits home, it not it's not a judgment. It's just trying to highlight what it takes. If you want to be successful at trading, you need to operate as a business owner. Every single successful trader that I've come across, and even looking at myself in my own journey, things didn't work out well for me when I was a hobbyist. Things transformed for me when I moved into being a business owner. Think about any of the books that you've read too. Were they acting more like the hobbyist side or more like the business owner side? If they've been acting more like the business owner side, then we need to move in that direction. And that's really why I wrote this book here, The Trading Success Blueprint. It gives you the full game plan, but not just the full plan, but how to go about writing your business plan, because I know how daunting it could be. So it's written for people that are non-business people. It uses language that's non-business language. If you understand what I've said here during uh, during this show, then you'll understand what's inside the Trading Success Blueprint. So if you have it already, wonderful. If you don't have it yet, then go into the description of this. If you're over on YouTube, I'll take the link and I'll post it, so that way you guys over on X have it too. I've spoken about this throughout the week, so you could go to another post and grab it there. But grab yourself a copy of this, and that's really going to help you. It's really going to help you a lot in forming your business plan. And also, I've been doing a lot of free one-on-one coaching calls. If you want help building your plan, I've opened up a few more one-on-one call spots. We'll sit down together, start to map some stuff out. Just comment, call, or also there's a link in the description of the video where you could go and sign up for that. But let's go to the Q&A, and we'll go through what sort of questions you guys have. Let's see. What kind of questions do you have? Colin wanted to talk about exits. So Colin, if you have a specific question about exits, drop it into the chat. Otherwise, I'll talk a little bit more about the detail of some of the exits that I like to take. One of the One of the ones that is very popular that I like to take, I'll show you this right here. Just going over to my website for a second. So we'll go over to the blog posts. And if you want to learn more about this type of exit with danger signals, I highly recommend that you guys check out this blog post. Not only is it a fantastic blog post, I know the author, but it also gives you the link to download not just the danger signals that are here, but also the signal for TradingView. I have this, all the danger signals that you see here, right? There's a whole bunch of bullet points on there. If you want to read them, great. But I have an indicator that's coded, that's for free, that will highlight when any of these things show up. There's all the things here. There's even a few more than these here. Those are some of the major ones. But it helps to exit trades before they go south. Like let's take a look at this one here. Right, so you see this, and this is a trade that I was in. I entered that trade on July 12th. This was Encore Capital Group, ticker ECPG, if you guys feel like pulling that up on your end. I entered it down here. Price ran up. I was able to sell everything on this day right here. I had no idea that it was going to have this kind of move after reporting earnings. But because on this day here, it had 8 danger signals, that prompted an immediate sale, because my business plan said that if you get 8 danger signals on a trade, you sell. So you don't need to be Nostradamus. You just need to have a set of rules, a plan, and be able to execute it. That's really it. What other questions do you guys have? Stick around for another moment or two here if you guys have questions. I see a bunch of people watching over on YouTube and X. Even have some people over on Twitch. Welcome, everybody. I appreciate you guys. But seriously, if you have not grabbed yourself a copy of the Trading Success Blueprint, then you're going to want to do that. So here it is again. Again, just type into the chat blueprint. I'll send it to you, or you could click the link in the description, or even click the link that I posted earlier in the chat. Alrighty, so looks like that is it for today. So I want to say thank you all so much for showing up today. This has been a wonderful time with you all. And this has been the Trader's Mindset Show. So until next time, trade with purpose, build with intention, and as always, treat your trading like a business, like it's supposed to be. All right. Take care, everyone. Much love. God bless. Hey, thanks so much for sticking around to the end. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button down below and become a part of the Mara Wealth community. And make sure that you check out some of the other videos on the channel. They're exactly what you need to see. And leave a comment down below. I read all of them. Leave a comment.